The diner was quiet when Emma saw him walk through the door, the man who'd promised to kill her. Her hands shook as she carried coffee to table 7, where a lone biker sat reading. She leaned close and whispered desperately, "That man is stalking me. Please help." The biker looked up with steel-gray eyes, assessed the situation in seconds, and pulled out his phone. 15 minutes later, 20 motorcycles surrounded the diner, but no one expected what happened next. If this story resonates with you, please like and comment below. Your voice helps spread awareness about protecting the vulnerable. Emma Collins had been running for 3 months, from Tennessee to Georgia to Alabama and back, running from Derek Walsh, her ex-boyfriend who'd put her in the hospital twice before she finally found the courage to leave. The restraining order was worthless. Derek ignored it. Police said they couldn't do anything until he violated it. Emma said, "He beats me. Isn't that violation enough?" They said no. That was the past. They needed new evidence. So Emma kept moving, working cash-only jobs, sleeping in her car some nights, trying to stay invisible. Tonight she was working at Rosie's Diner, a truck stop off Highway 65 in rural Tennessee. Night shift, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. The pay was terrible, but it was quiet. Mostly truckers passing through. Nobody asked questions. Emma was refilling coffee at table 7, a lone customer, a biker in his 40s with a weathered face and Road King's patch on his leather vest. He'd been there an hour, nursing coffee and reading a paperback western. Then the bell over the door chimed. Emma looked up and her blood turned to ice. Derek Walsh stood in the doorway, 6'2", muscular, with cold blue eyes that found Emma immediately. His smile was predatory. "Hello, Emma. Miss me?" Emma's hands shook so badly she nearly dropped the coffee pot. "You can't be here. There's a restraining order. Restraining order says I can't come within 500 feet of your residence. This ain't your residence, is it?" Derek slid into a booth. "Just here for some coffee. That's legal, right?" Emma's heart hammered. How did he find her? She'd been so careful. The night cook, 60-year-old Roy, emerged from the kitchen. "Everything okay out here?" Derek smiled pleasantly. "Just ordering coffee, friend. No trouble." Roy looked at Emma. She forced a smile and nodded. Roy returned to the kitchen, oblivious. Emma was alone. No phone signal this far out. No police. Just her, Derek, and one customer, the biker who hadn't looked up from his book. Derek's voice dropped to a whisper only Emma could hear. "You think you can run from me? You're mine. Always will be. I'm gonna drag you out of here, put you in my truck, and teach you what happens to bitches who get restraining orders." Emma felt tears coming. She was trapped. If she ran, Derek would chase. If she screamed, who would help? Then she looked at the biker. He was still reading, but something about his posture, the way he held himself, alert despite his relaxed appearance, gave Emma hope. She walked to his table with the coffee pot, leaning close as if to refill his cup. Her voice was barely a whisper. "That man is stalking me. He's violent. Please, I need help." The biker looked up. Steel-gray eyes assessed Emma, then Derek, then back to Emma. He saw the terror, the bruises fading on her wrists, the way she trembled. "Name's Marcus," he said quietly. "You trust me?" Emma nodded desperately. Marcus pulled out his phone. "Give me 2 minutes." He made a call. "Boss, it's Steele. Rosie's Diner on 65. Got a situation. Woman being stalked by violent ex. Need backup. Now." A pause. 20 minutes? Make it 15. Thanks. He hung up and looked at Emma. "My brothers are coming. Until then, you stay visible. Near me. He tries anything. I handle it. I don't want you to get hurt. Sweetheart, I've been hurt plenty. One more asshole won't make a difference." Derek was watching. He stood and approached. "Problem here?" Marcus didn't stand, just looked at Derek with those cold eyes. "Lady's working. You're harassing her. Sit back down. This ain't your business, old man. Made it my business. Sit down." Something in Marcus's tone, the absolute certainty, the underlying threat, made Derek hesitate. He was used to intimidating women. Men like Marcus were different. "We'll settle this later," Derek said, returning to his booth, but his eyes never left Emma. Marcus pulled out a 20. "Coffee's on me. You stay behind the counter. Don't go near him." 15 minutes. Emma nodded, retreating to the relative safety of the counter. Roy emerged again. "What's going on?" "That man's bothering Emma," Marcus said calmly. "I called some friends. We're gonna make sure he leaves peacefully." "Should I call the cops?" "Already done." A lie, but Roy looked relieved. 14 minutes later, Emma heard it. A rumble, deep, growing louder, motorcycles. They came from both directions on Highway 65. 10, 15, 20 bikes, all road kings. They pulled into the diner parking lot in formation, surrounding Derek's truck. The bikers dismounted and walked inside. Big men, hard men. They filled the small diner, leather and tattoos, and an unmistakable air of danger. The leader, a massive man with a president patch, approached Marcus. "Steele, what we got?" Marcus gestured to Derek. "That piece of garbage has been stalking this waitress, threatening her. Violated a restraining order." The president, called Hammer, turned to Derek. "That true?" Derek tried to appear tough. "This is none of your business. Emma's my girlfriend." "Ex-girlfriend," Emma said, finding courage. "He put me in the hospital, twice. I have a restraining order. He's not supposed to be near me." Hammer's expression darkened. "You hit women? That's between me and her." Hammer moved fast for a big man. He grabbed Derek by the collar and slammed him against the wall. "I asked you a question. You hit women?" Derek's tough guy act crumbled. She provoked me." Wrong answer. Hammer released Derek, but the 20 bikers formed a wall between him and the door. Derek was surrounded. "Here's what's gonna happen," Hammer said. "You're gonna sit your ass down. We're gonna call the real police. They're gonna arrest you for violating that restraining order. And you're never gonna come near Emma again. Clear? You can't hold me here. Watch us." One biker, Patch said, "Wrench," pulled out his phone. "Sheriff's Department? Got a situation at Rosie's Diner on Highway 65. Man violating restraining order, threatening violence. Need units here now." The dispatcher confirmed officers were en route. Derek's face flushed with rage. "You think this is over? I'll come back. I'll find her again. And when I do..." Steele stepped forward. "You threatening her in front of 20 witnesses?" Derek's mouth snapped shut. The wait for police felt eternal. The bikers stood silent, a human barrier. Emma stayed behind the counter, feeling safer than she had in months. Roy brought out coffee for the bikers. "On the house. Thank you for helping Emma. I didn't realize. I should have noticed." "Not your fault," Hammer said. "Predators like him are good at hiding." 20 minutes later, 2 sheriff's deputies arrived. They assessed the situation. 20 bikers, 1 terrified waitress, 1 angry man cornered in a booth. Deputy Miller knew Hammer. "What's going on here?" Hammer explained. Emma showed her restraining order on her phone. Derek was listed, photo included. "He found me here. Threatened to kidnap me. These men protected me." Miller cuffed Derek. "Derek Walsh, you're under arrest for violating a protective order." Derek spat at Emma as they dragged him past. "This isn't over, bitch." Steele moved to block the spit. It hit his jacket instead. Outside, Derek was loaded into the patrol car. Deputy Miller returned. "Emma, you need to file a full report. This violation, plus the threats made in front of witnesses, he's looking at serious time. He'll make bail. He always does. Maybe. But there's something else." Miller looked uncomfortable. "Derek Walsh is wanted in 2 other states. Assault charges. Another restraining order violation in Georgia. If we can connect him to those cases, bail won't matter. He won't get it." Emma felt a surge of hope. "Really? Really? Come to the station tomorrow. We'll coordinate with other jurisdictions." After the deputies left with Derek, the bikers began dispersing, but Hammer, Steele, and 3 others stayed. "Emma," Hammer said gently. "Where are you staying?" "My car. I move around a lot so he can't find me." "Not anymore, you don't." Hammer pulled out a business card. "This is our clubhouse address. We got spare rooms. You stay there until Derek's behind bars for good. No arguments." "I can't impose." "You ain't imposing. We protect people who need it. That's what we do." Steele added, "You helped yourself by asking for help. That took guts. Now let us finish the job." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "Why? You don't even know me." "Don't need to," Hammer said. "You needed help. We were here. Simple as that." Emma followed them to the clubhouse, a large building on 20 acres outside town. It was clean, organized, and surprisingly welcoming. They showed her a small bedroom with a lock on the inside. "You're safe here," Steele said. "Nobody gets in without permission. You need anything, holler." That night, Emma slept soundly for the first time in months. No checking the locks. No jumping at every sound. Just sleep. The next morning, Emma woke disoriented. Then she remembered she was at the Road King's clubhouse. Safe. She found the common room where several bikers sat drinking coffee. Hammer waved her over. "Morning. Sleep okay?" "Better than I have in forever." "Good. Here's the plan. We're taking you to the sheriff's station. You give your statement. Then we figure out next steps. At the station, Deputy Miller was waiting with a detective from the state police. Emma, this is Detective Sarah Torres. She's been investigating Derek Walsh for 2 years. Torres was in her 40s, professional and kind. Emma, I need you to tell me everything. Every incident, every threat, every time he hurt you. Emma spent 3 hours recounting her relationship with Derek. The first time he hit her, 6 months in, after she talked to another man. The second time, when she tried to leave. The hospital visits she'd lied about, saying she fell. The escalating threats. The final beating that made her file the restraining order and run. Torres recorded everything. Emma, Derek's done this before. 3 other women in 2 states. Same pattern. Charm, isolate, control, violence. You're not his first victim, but you might be the key to stopping him. How? The other women are too scared to testify. But if you do, if you're willing to face him in court, we can use your testimony to corroborate theirs, lock him away for decades. Emma felt terror and determination war inside her. He'll come after me. Not if he's in prison. And Emma, you won't be alone. I'll make sure of it. Hammer, who'd been listening, spoke up. She's got 24/7 protection until this is done. We guarantee it. Torres nodded. That helps. Emma, I know this is scary, but you can end his reign of terror. Not just for you, for all his victims. Emma took a deep breath. Okay, I'll testify. Over the next weeks, Emma stayed at the clubhouse. The bikers treated her like family, protective but respectful. Steele taught her self-defense. A female club member named Raven helped her process trauma. Others just made her laugh with jokes and stories. Emma learned these men weren't criminals. They were veterans, mechanics, fathers. They'd formed a brotherhood and lived by a code: loyalty, protection, justice. Derek made bail as expected, but 2 days later he was arrested again. The warrants from Georgia and Alabama had been executed. No bail this time. Emma testified at the grand jury. Derek was indicted on 17 counts across 3 states: assault, stalking, kidnapping attempt, witness intimidation. Trial was set for 6 months out. Emma stayed at the clubhouse, rebuilding her life. She got a job at a better diner, one owned by a Road Kings member's wife. She started therapy, began to heal. The night before trial, Emma sat with Steele on the clubhouse porch. I'm scared. That's normal. But you got this. And we'll be there. All of us. Why do you care so much? You didn't have to help me. Steele was quiet a moment. I had a sister, younger than me. She got tangled up with a guy like Derek. Beat her. Controlled her. She was too scared to leave. One night he killed her. I was overseas, couldn't help. I got home to a funeral. His voice was rough. I can't save my sister, but I can help women like her, like you. That's why. Emma took his hand. Thank you. For everything. The trial lasted 2 weeks. Derek's lawyers tried to discredit Emma, but her testimony was powerful. She didn't cry, didn't back down, looked Derek in the eye and recounted every beating, every threat. The jury also heard from the other 3 victims, who'd found courage through Emma's example. They heard from doctors, police, witnesses. Derek was found guilty on all counts. Sentencing, 45 years without parole. As Derek was led away, he tried to lunge at Emma. Steele and 4 bikers formed a wall. Derek was restrained and removed. Outside the courthouse, Emma broke down. Not from fear, from relief. It was over. Hammer hugged her. You did it. You took down a monster. We did it. I couldn't have without you all. That evening, the clubhouse threw a celebration, not just for Emma, but for all survivors. They'd invited the other 3 women Derek had abused. Together they shared stories, cried, laughed, and healed. Emma stood and addressed the room. 3 months ago, I was terrified, alone, living in my car. I walked into a diner and whispered for help to a stranger. That stranger, Steele, didn't ignore me. He called his family. They protected me, believed me, fought for me. Because of them, I'm free. Derek's in prison, and I get to rebuild my life. She looked at the bikers. People fear you because of how you look, but I know the truth. You're heroes. Every single one of you. Thank you for saving my life. The room erupted in cheers. Emma had found more than safety. She'd found family. 6 months later, Emma was thriving. She'd moved into her own apartment, continued therapy, and started volunteering with domestic violence organizations. She stayed close to the Road Kings. Steele became a father figure. Raven a best friend. Hammer a protective brother. One afternoon, a young woman approached Emma at the diner where she worked. Are you Emma Collins, the woman who testified against Derek Walsh? Yes. My boyfriend hits me. I'm scared to leave, but I saw your story. If you could do it. Her voice broke. Emma took her hand. You can, and you don't have to do it alone. Let me help you. Emma called Steele. Within an hour, the woman was safe at the clubhouse. Another life saved. Emma realized then, her trauma had purpose. She could help others escape what she'd survived. She started a foundation, Whisper for Help, connecting abuse victims with protection networks. The Road Kings became her security team, helping women escape dangerous situations. Within a year, they'd helped 50 women leave abusive relationships. Some stayed at the clubhouse, others were relocated. All were protected until their abusers were jailed. Emma's story spread. News outlets covered it. From victim to victor, how a waitress and a biker gang changed everything. People's perceptions of motorcycle clubs shifted. The Road Kings weren't criminals, they were protectors. Years later, Emma stood at a domestic violence awareness rally, hundreds attending. Steele stood beside her, gray but strong. 10 years ago, I whispered for help to a stranger in a diner. He listened. That's all it took. One person willing to listen. Now we've helped 500 women escape abuse. 500 lives saved because one biker said, I'll help you. That's the lesson. We all have power to help. We just have to choose to use it. The crowd roared approval. After, Steele hugged Emma. Proud of you, kid. You took your pain and turned it into purpose. I learned from the best. You saved me, Steele. Now I get to save others. That's your legacy, Steele smiled. Our legacy. We did this together. And they had. A terrified waitress and a motorcycle club nobody trusted had built something beautiful, a network of protection, healing, and hope, all because Emma whispered for help. And Steele listened. Sometimes heroes wear leather and ride motorcycles. Sometimes courage is asking for help. And sometimes the most dangerous-looking people are exactly who you need when danger comes calling. 5 years after Derek's conviction, Emma stood in front of a congressional committee in Washington, D.C. Her foundation, Whisper for Help, had become a national model for domestic violence intervention, and lawmakers wanted to understand how a waitress and a motorcycle club had accomplished what government programs couldn't. The system fails because it's impersonal, Emma testified. When I called police about Derek, I was case number 2847, a file. But when I whispered to Steele in that diner, I became a person worth protecting. That's the difference. Senator Mitchell leaned forward. Ms. Collins, your foundation partners with motorcycle clubs across 12 states. Some people question whether these organizations should be involved in law enforcement matters. They're not law enforcement. They're community protection. And they're more effective than police in many cases because victims trust them. A terrified woman is more likely to approach a biker in a parking lot than file a police report that might get her killed. But these clubs have criminal elements. Some members have criminal records. So do many abuse survivors. Should their past disqualify them from helping others? The Road Kings saved my life when the legal system couldn't. They've saved 500 more since then. That's results, Senator, not paperwork. The testimony went viral. Biker clubs as domestic violence heroes topped headlines. Conservative lawmakers clutched pearls. Progressive advocates embraced the model. But Emma didn't care about politics. She cared about the woman who'd called the hotline that morning. Another Emma, another Derek, another desperate whisper for help. Back in Tennessee, the Road Kings clubhouse had evolved. One wing was now dedicated to Whisper for Help operations, secure rooms, counseling space, legal resources. The club had formalized their protection protocols, working directly with law enforcement and courts. Steele, now 55 and grayer, ran training sessions for new Road Kings chapters joining the network. Rule 1, we're protectors, not vigilantes. We create safety, gather evidence, and let the system handle justice. Rule 2, every woman who asks for help gets it. No questions, no judgment. Rule 3, we don't quit until she's safe. One afternoon, a call came in that would test everything they'd built. A woman named Jessica Torres had contacted the hotline. Her husband, Rick, was a police sergeant, connected, powerful, and untouchable. He'd been abusing her for 8 years. When she tried to leave, he'd threatened to kill her and use his badge to cover it up. Police won't help, Jessica said, voice shaking on the phone. Rick's got friends everywhere. I'm trapped. Emma took the call personally. Where are you? Hiding at my sister's. But Rick knows. He's coming tonight. I don't have anywhere else to go. Give me the address. Help is coming. Emma called Steele. We've got a problem. Cop's wife. Abusive husband with badge. She needs extraction now. Steele's jaw tightened. A cop? That's complicated. Since when do we care about complicated? Fair point. Give me the address. Within 2 hours, 15 Road Kings motorcycles pulled up to a modest house in suburban Memphis. Jessica's sister Ashley answered the door, terrified. Are you the bikers? Oh, thank God. Rick called 10 minutes ago. He's on his way. Said he's bringing backup to handle the situation. Steele assessed quickly. How many entrances? Front and back. Wrench, take 5 brothers to the back. Rest of us stay front. Nobody gets in without going through us. Jessica emerged, thin, bruised, eyes hollow with fear. He's going to kill me. You don't understand. Rick's not just violent. He's connected. He'll make this go away. Not this time, Emma said, arriving with Hammer and Detective Torres, who'd become an ally. Sarah's documenting everything. Rick makes a move. It's on record. 20 minutes later, headlights appeared. 3 police cars. Rick Torres stepped out in uniform, flanked by 4 officers. This is police business, Rick announced. That's my wife. She's having a mental health crisis. We're taking her for evaluation. Funny, Steele said. She seems pretty clear-headed to me. Step aside or you're all arrested for obstruction. Detective Torres stepped forward, showing her badge. State Police Detective Sarah Torres. I'm investigating domestic violence allegations against Sergeant Torres. Nobody's taking Jessica anywhere. Rick's confident expression faltered. Sarah, this is my jurisdiction. Was your jurisdiction? As of 2 hours ago, FBI opened an investigation into you for abuse of power and domestic violence. You're suspended pending investigation. Rick's face flushed with rage. You bitch. You're going to regret this. That's a threat against a law enforcement officer, Torres said calmly. Anything else you'd like to add? The other officers looked uncomfortable. One, a younger cop named Davis, spoke up. Sarge, maybe we should go. This doesn't feel right. Rick turned on him. Shut up, Davis. No, sir. I joined to protect people, not help abusers. Davis looked at Jessica. Ma'am, I'm sorry we didn't help sooner. The other 3 officers nodded. One by one, they returned to their cars. Rick stood alone, badge and power meaningless. You think you've won? Rick spat at Jessica. I'll get out. I'll find you. No, Hammer said, stepping forward. You won't, because we'll be watching. Every single day. You come near her, you even think about her, we'll know. And we'll be there. Rick was arrested that night. Over the following weeks, 6 other women came forward. All wives or girlfriends of Rick's friends. All abused. All too scared to report because of police connections. The case exploded. Federal investigation revealed a network of cops protecting each other's abuse. 12 officers were fired. 7 faced criminal charges. Jessica stayed at the clubhouse during the trial. Emma worked with her daily, helping her process trauma and rebuild confidence. How did you get so strong? Jessica asked one evening. I'm not strong. I just had help. Steele, Hammer, all of them. They taught me I was worth protecting. That I didn't deserve what Derek did. Now I'm teaching you the same thing. But what if I'm not strong enough? You already are. You called for help. That's the hardest part. Everything else we do together. Rick Torres was convicted and sentenced to 25 years. His fellow officers got sentences ranging from 5 to 15 years. The corruption was exposed, and Memphis PD underwent massive reform. But Emma knew the work wasn't finished. For every woman they saved, dozens more suffered in silence. She expanded Whisper for Help aggressively. Partnerships with motorcycle clubs in 30 states, a 24/7 hotline, safe houses, legal support, counseling, job training. Steele remained her right hand. Now pushing 60, he'd mentored hundreds of bikers in protection protocols. We're not just saving women, he told new recruits. We're changing how people see us, showing that patches and leather don't define character. Actions do. One winter evening, Emma got a call that would come full circle. Emma? This is Roy, from Rosie's Diner. Remember me? Of course. How are you? I'm okay, but there's a situation. Young woman working here, same thing that happened to you. Boyfriend stalking her, she's terrified. I told her about you. Emma's heart raced. Put her on. A scared voice came through. Ms. Collins? My name's Tanya. My boyfriend, Carlos. He hurts me. He's here right now. Watching. I'm so scared. Emma was already moving. Tanya, listen carefully. Do exactly what I did. Find the biggest, toughest-looking customer. Ask for help. Can you do that? There's a biker here. At table 7. Same table you were at. Emma smiled through tears. Perfect. Go to him. Whisper if you need to. Ask for help. Then call me back. Emma hung up and immediately called Steele. Rosie's Diner. Woman in danger. Who's in that area? Local chapter. I'll alert them. 10 minutes later, Emma's phone rang. Ms. Collins, this is Marcus. I mean Steele. I'm at Rosie's. Tanya found me. Situation's handled. Brothers are en route. Emma felt chills. Steele? You're at table 7? Yeah, where I was sitting 5 years ago. Guess I got a spot. You're exactly where you need to be. 20 road kings surrounded Rosie's diner. Carlos was arrested. Tanya was taken to safety. And Emma realized the legacy they'd built. A network so strong that women knew where to go, who to ask, how to get help. The moment went viral when Roy posted security footage online. 5 years ago, Emma asked for help at this table. Tonight, Tanya did the same. The same biker was there. This is what real heroism looks like. Millions watched. Donations to Whisper for Help tripled. Motorcycle clubs across the country volunteered. Emma's foundation became a blueprint. Other states adopted the model. Federal funding followed. Whisper for Help became a national program, but Emma insisted it stay grassroots, run by survivors and bikers who understood the streets. 10 years after her rescue, Emma was invited to give a TED Talk. She stood on stage, confident and powerful. 10 years ago, I was seconds away from being kidnapped by my abuser. I whispered for help to a stranger, a biker named Steele. He didn't ignore me, didn't tell me it wasn't his problem. He called his brothers and they surrounded that diner like warriors. They saved my life. The audience was silent, riveted. Today, we've helped over 2,000 women escape abuse. We've brought down corrupt cops, exposed criminal networks, and changed laws. But it started with one whisper. One person willing to listen. That's all it takes. Someone who cares enough to act. She paused. People judge bikers, see the leather, the patches, the intimidating appearance. But I know the truth. The toughest, most dangerous-looking people I know are also the gentlest with victims, the fiercest against predators, and the most loyal friends you could ask for. They taught me that strength isn't about size or muscles. It's about standing up when others won't. Emma's voice grew stronger. If you're in an abusive relationship, whisper for help. To anyone. A stranger, a friend, a biker at table 7. Someone will listen. I promise. And if you're someone who can help, listen when people whisper. Act when others ignore. Be the person who says, I'll help you, instead of not my problem. Standing ovation. Tears throughout the audience. Backstage, Steele waited. Emma hugged him. We did it. We actually changed things. You did it. I just answered a call. You did more than that. You believed me. Protected me. Taught me I was worth saving. Steele's eyes were wet. My sister would have loved you. You're doing what I couldn't do for her. Saving lives. I'm proud of you, kid. Couldn't have done it without you, old man. They laughed through tears. 15 years after that night at Rosie's Diner, Emma stood in a different place, the opening of the Road Kings Memorial Center, a massive facility dedicated to domestic violence prevention and survivor support. The center offered everything: emergency housing, counseling, legal aid, job training, childcare, and it was staffed by survivors and bikers working together. Emma, now 43, ran the center. Steele, 70, and mostly retired from riding, served as head of security. Hammer was on the board. The original 20 Road Kings who'd saved Emma that night were all there, grayer and slower, but still fierce in their dedication. At the ribbon-cutting ceremony, local and state officials attended. The governor gave a speech about public-private partnerships. But Emma knew the truth. This wasn't government work. This was grassroots, built by people who'd suffered and fought back. When Emma spoke, she invited Tanya to join her. The young woman she'd helped at Rosie's Diner was now a counselor at the center, helping other survivors. 15 years ago, I was a terrified waitress. Today, I run a center that helps thousands. That's not because I'm special. It's because one person listened when I whispered for help, and I learned to pass that forward. She looked at Steele. My hero doesn't wear a cape. He wears leather and rides a Harley. He's got gray in his beard and scars from a hard life, but he's got the biggest heart of anyone I know. Steele, come up here. Steele reluctantly joined her. Emma continued. This man saved my life. Then he taught me how to save others. This center exists because he said yes when he could have said not my problem. That's heroism. The crowd erupted in applause. Steele looked uncomfortable with attention but proud. After the ceremony, Emma found Steele on the back patio, looking out at the parking lot, filled with motorcycles from Road Kings chapters nationwide. Thinking about something? Emma asked. About how far we've come. Started with one scared woman and 20 pissed-off bikers. Now look at this. He gestured at the building. We built something that'll outlast us. That's legacy. Your legacy, and you earned it. Steele smiled. Our legacy. I might have started it, but you built it. You took your pain and turned it into purpose. That's rare. Emma sat beside him. I had good teachers. They sat in comfortable silence, watching sunset paint the sky orange and pink. Inside, survivors laughed with counselors. Children played in the safe rooms. Women took the first steps toward freedom. You ever regret it? Emma asked. That night? Getting involved? Not for a second. Best decision I ever made. Me too. Best whisper I ever made. Steele laughed. Strangest pickup line ever. Hey, it worked. That it did. Over the following years, the center expanded. Locations in 15 states. Thousands helped annually. And always, motorcycle clubs were involved. Protection, security, outreach. People's perceptions shifted entirely. Bikers weren't criminals to fear. They were heroes who showed up when others wouldn't. Emma continued her advocacy work into her 50s and 60s. She spoke worldwide, consulted with governments, trained law enforcement, but she always returned to Tennessee, to the clubhouse where she'd found safety. Steele passed away at 78. The funeral was massive, thousands of bikers from across the country. Emma gave the eulogy. Steele was my hero, but he'd hate me saying that. He'd say he just did what anyone should do, but that's the point. Most people don't. Steele did. He listened when I whispered for help. He acted when others would have looked away. He taught me that real strength is using your power to protect others. She looked at his Road King's brothers. Continue his work. Listen when people whisper. Act when others ignore. Be dangerous to predators and gentle with victims. That's Steele's legacy, and it's all of ours now. Emma lived to see her 80th birthday. The center was thriving. 50 locations nationwide. Over 30,000 women helped. Countless lives saved. On her last day, she sat on the clubhouse porch with Tanya, now running the Tennessee Center, and other survivors turned advocates. You changed the world, Tanya said. We changed it. All of us. Every person who whispered for help. Every person who listened. Every biker who said, I'll protect you. That's how change happens. One person at a time, one whisper at a time. Emma looked at the Road King's memorial wall. Photos of Steele, Hammer, and others who'd passed. Warriors who'd fought different battles later in life. Who'd turned their strength from destruction to protection. Steele would be proud, Emma whispered. And somehow, she felt him there, at table 7, reading his Western, ready to help the next woman who whispered for help. The story of Emma and the Road Kings became legend. A cautionary tale about judging people by appearance. An inspiration about the power of asking for help. A blueprint for community-based protection. But mostly it was proof that heroes come in unexpected forms. That sometimes the scariest-looking people are exactly who you need when danger comes. And that one whisper, please help me, can change everything. Emma Collins had whispered for help in a diner 15 years ago. Steele had listened, and together they'd built a legacy of protection, healing, and hope that would outlast them both. Sometimes bravery is asking for help. Sometimes heroism is answering that call. And sometimes the most beautiful things grow from the darkest moments. If someone's brave enough to whisper, and someone else is brave enough to listen. The end of Emma's story, but just the beginning of thousands more. Every woman who found courage to whisper, every biker who chose to listen, every life saved because someone refused to look away. That's the real legacy, and it continues every single day.